Born in the small village of Virginia in the Free State, Florence Ndlovu is a successful entrepreneur, mother, wife, and CEO who turned her pain into purpose. Florence says that she has always had a knack for business and used to sell sweets at school. The media first introduced Florence to us as the first Black female entrepreneur to own a pizza franchise. She is now the Chief Executive Officer of a lifestyle brand, MK Ozil Sportwear, that was birthed from losing a loved one. Help me welcome the Chief Executive Officer of MK Ozil Sportwear, Mrs. Florence Ndlovu. Hello, Flo. Thank you so much for joining us on Young Professionals.
Thank you, Zimkita. It's so nice to be here.
Now, Flo, when I got introduced to you, I remember reading an article, and it basically was showing me someone who looked like me and had just bought a franchise, right? And I was so excited. You know, it was like this lady who's Black, who's a female from a small town, bought a pizza franchise. And I was like, I need to know who this lady is. So I can see or sense that you've always had a knack for business. When did you realize that actually I love business?
You know, it's so funny, Zim, that I realized that when I was so young, I was in our times, we were calling it standard 2, but I think now it's called grade 4. When we had this guy, you know, in the location, like we're staying in a very nice community, you know, lots of shacks around, but so much love around it. So there was a guy who, it was Ndate, and then we're calling him Ndate Sam. So he used to give us switches, and it sounds like a normal story, like from everyone, but it's so true that he will give us switches, you know, from his own capital, his own money, to say, go and sell switches at school. And then from there, you know, come in and bring money back to me, tell me how much you've made and all. So for me and my friend, it used to be so exciting that, oh, this guy is giving us switches and we go sell, we come back, we have extra cash, we don't have to ask money from home. I would like to believe that's where it was born, actually.
Yeah, that's such a beautiful story. Now, a few years later, we're no longer talking about the pizza franchise. We are in a new business called MK Ozil Sportswear, which is all about health and wellness. Just please tell us, what is MK and what is it about and how did it come about?
Okay, MK Ozil Sportswear, it's a sportswear brand. Where we design, we make sportswear apparel, which is activewear as well. And lately we've also introduced some casual, you know, but how was it born? MK Ozil was born from a pain. My first brother who passed away, he was selling water. So that water, he called it MK Ozil. So which is his name? MK, like I said, that I was born from Mokere family. So MK is Mokere. So it was his surname, and Oziel was his name. And so he actually started that business the same 2019, which December he passed away. So he was like the purpose of that business, it was to promote healthy lifestyle in the sense of people drinking water, you know, and all that. So we're starting small, and we knew that later on it will go bigger. When I say we, because we were so close. I used to advise him a lot, like, you know, that I was already in a franchising space. So I'll sell that water even in my franchise and all that to support him. So upon his passing in December, I told myself that we agreed actually with my husband that we are going to you know, keep the legacy, keep his name alive. Then we're going to have to do something. So I started selling water. I continue selling water in my space as well, like in my franchise business, and also, you know, individuals, and promote it in my social media. As you might have noticed, some of the pictures where I will literally deliver, like with my own car, driving around, delivering water. And later on, then we started doing the mask, you know, because of the COVID started, and later on it was the sportwear. But that's where it started. It was started from losing him, from high blood pressure, and we're like, okay, let's just continue with lifestyle, brand, and we'll see what it'll bring later in the stage. That's how it was born, and that's where it was born.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that for a second, because in this time or era, there's so much, especially on social media, there's so much glamorizing of real stories and real pain, because people are like marketing and, motivational speakers, you can do it. So it's almost as if we're desensitized to real emotions that people feel. So tell me, what was it like when they tell you that your brother is no more? What did that feeling feel like?
It's been from 2019, but even today is very difficult because it was an instant thing, like a person goes home to take my dad home. And then when he was in the like a church worshiping, and then he just fell on the stage, and then my dad calls me to say he's unconscious, I don't know what to do. Then he took him to hospital. And when he got to hospital, the doctor told my dad that that's it. He got high blood pressure, it shot to 300. And the doctor was telling me on the phone to say there's only 20% chances of survival. But yeah, but being the believer that I am, I thought that 20%, I'll just hold on to it.
Yeah.
And we kept on praying and hoping that he'll come back to life. And then at that time, he was in a coma, and he was in the ICU. And after 4 days, then we're told that he's no longer alive. So it took me a while for me to understand what's going on, because it came as a shock,
Yeah.
So I felt like my life has just ended. I forgot about all the good things and good people that I have in my life at that time, because we're so close. We're extremely close, to an extent that he was promoting my business, was promoting everything that I do, would take it as his. Like, with our kids, he would be like the best uncle to my husband. Whenever he's going wherever away, then this guy will be here to do everything that my husband could not do to our kids.
Yeah.
It was so difficult for me. It was so difficult for the family. For my kids, it was even worse, because they called him our small daddy, because of this guy loved life. And he would have done exactly the same if it was me. He wouldn't want someone else to die out of the same thing that he died on. So we have to make sure that someone has to be given information out there, and they must be alive. So out of his death, someone must be alive,
Thank you, Flo, for sharing that. And that was real. And that's something that I feel like a lot of people, myself included, can relate. I would like to ask you, though, because this is something you're going to deal with forever, and it's an integral part of MK Ozil. How did you deal with the grief in the beginning, and how do you deal with it now? Because you constantly have to talk about it.
Okay. In this, it's a pain that not even the best doctor can heal. All the best words, can come and penetrate into your heart. So it's very important that you connect to your God. So I needed to reconnect again, because when it happens, you're like, oh, it's the end of the world. Nothing is happening and nothing is ever going to happen. But that's how loss is. Loss of anything, loss of a job, loss of a loved one, loss of anything that you think is important in your life. You think there's no tomorrow. But reconnecting to my God, then I remember that nothing happens for no reason, and nothing is going to live forever. And even friendship, even love, even anything, anything. So once the purpose has been fulfilled, it will definitely go away. So with my brother, I was like, you know what, God, you sent him for a purpose, and he was young, but we felt so much of his presence. So it means whatever that you had actually brought him on earth for has been fulfilled, whether we liked it or not. There's nothing we can do now. Whether I keep on crying every day, instead of healing, I'm just going to kill myself, because I'll be in a depression and I'm going to lose the good things. Or I can even be paralyzed while I can still see, people that loves me, and that wouldn't have loved to see me going through what I'm going through. So I had to go to God and say, God, it is done, and you're going to have to give me strength. And I promise you, it sounds crazy. Simkita, but God is alive. So when you talk to God and say, God, you cry in your own closet where no one can see you. You know, people see us smiling, but they don't know what we go through, you know. So this pain actually pushed me to be more closer to God, because I felt no one else can understand except him, who allows this kind of things to happen, you know. And being closer to him, you know, I started reading a lot of books. I started reading Word of God. I started the friends that God brought into my life. At that particular time, it was just what I needed to hear. Then I could see that it was really God here. And some will be like, no, Flo, we know you, you are strong. And at that point, you're like, I'm not strong. I don't want to hear that word. But you realize that actually they mean well. They mean, Flo, we know you can be able to stand up again. Actually, I kept quiet for some time from social media, because I needed to be real. I'm one person who's real. I don't want to pretend that all is well if I'm not well, and it's okay not to be well. You know, the only problem is that when you are well, when you are not well, do something about it. You can't just not be well and not be well until you die out of depression. Then I learned now to live with this pain that I cannot change, you know, but something needed to be born out of it. I felt like, you know, something must be born. So the more I push MK Ozil Sportswear, is the more I feel that this, could it not happen, I wouldn't maybe be pushing this way. So my why, it becomes bigger. So even if when I feel like I'm feeling so down, the fact that I have a brand that was born from a pain, and someone out of this is going to be encouraged to say, my friend, you can stand up. If Flo could make it, then you can make it. You will miss them so much. And you're like, oh my God, sure, I wish, you know. But the fact that their purpose has been fulfilled, you're going to have to live with it. And now take whatever that you take from this and run with it. So that's how I manage this pain.
Thank you for sharing that, Flo. Let's talk about now this beautiful baby that was born out of this pain, MK Ozil. It's been growing from strength to strength every day. I see some big major names that have been featured. How has it been, and what are some of the greatest achievements that you guys have managed to achieve as MK Ozil?
One of the greatest achievements for me personally, it was being featured in one of the it was a campaign, you know, with one of the, I can say, very successful skin solution product in the country, which is still making waves even today. So for me, that was an achievement. I was like, wow. So God, you knew that I needed to know these people before this time, you know, and it happened. And, you know, sometimes, not even sometimes, you need to serve before you can be served. And I think that's one principle that we should run with. You need to support people, because you don't know, maybe later in life, you'll need them as well. So I always say, mutu ki mutu kabatu, and that has worked for me. So at that time, yes, that was the first achievement. And also being featured in one of the business shows, small business show, for me, that was great.
Yeah, that's where we met, actually. Incredible.
That's what
Best
we
day of my
met,
life.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful, you know. And for me, another one is employ youth that has no experience. We are in a country where we know it's a developing country, and we have more of unskilled laborers, in a sense of they have a potential, but they are not skilled, you know. So they have a potential of being labor. So I have an opportunity to just employ whoever that I want. Where I see potential, I just employ, you know. Wow. So I've done that in the previous business or franchise, and now I'm doing it even now. We have customers in Northwest, in Mpumalanga, in Free State, in where else, and different cities around Gauteng, you know. So I think we have expanded a lot. Having a website that is running with the contract with the National Courier Service. We bought a bakkie.
Wow. Congratulations.
For ourselves, yeah. So that was a great achievement, because now it means we needed to have someone driving that bakkie, which is another job job creation. You know, so in a smaller scale, we are really creating jobs, and the jobs that are going to be sustainable. And then having a showroom where the customers now they can come, you know, and have a look and feel of our clothes. For me, it's an achievement, because most of us, we cry to say, you know, government is not helping. We cannot go to the malls. And so we took, again, we took that pain to a purpose to say,
Yeah.
this is what we have. Let's make use of what we have, so that we can achieve more. And I promise you, the showroom is attracting good customers. The customer, they come get there, they get excited, being able to assist the community. Where we go to not orphanages, we have been to the old age home where we promote healthy lifestyle into them, because most of the time we just go give. So we do give them, but we also want to leave them with the knowledge. So we've imparted in their lives, because we get good feedback to say, wow, Flo, since you left, Ugogo Banbani, this is what she started doing. And also now in the schools around here, where like at Trashville, where we go, and we have committed to give sanitary towels every month, like 250 sanitary towels, so that the dignity of girls can come back and they can be confident enough, So those are the things that we can say these are our achievements.
And I guess that's also what makes MK Ozil Sportswear so unique. The community building, you can feel the love, you can feel it's very intentional. And I commend you for that. But what have been some of the myths and the challenges that you have encountered in your journey?
Sure. They always say real entrepreneurs don't quit. It's one of the myths. And I will say, you must know when to quit. Not every business is for you, and you must know that. And I think I was in a franchising space, and I needed to know when to say, no, I can't do this anymore. So when the challenges strikes, you push and you do what you can, but I promise you there will be something that will tell you, no, now this one is not working, and does not mean you quit business, but you quit that particular journey that you are in, And the other myth is people always say business people don't have a boss. You are your own boss. It's true. When you start, you're your own boss because you do everything. However, my bosses are my customers. Those are the people who keeps me in business. That pushes me to do what? To make sure that they are always happy. They're always treated like it's the only customer we have, And one other thing is that people think entrepreneurs are rich. It's another myth, There are those who are rich because they've worked on something, and there are those who are wealthy. You can count percentages in our country, and it depends on what is the definition of wealth, But being an entrepreneur is definitely, it will yield greater benefits. We're not there yet, but we know that it's a myth. And when people see you, they think, this one is mine. You always get requests from the sponsorships, people saying, please sponsor, please help. But that is not a reality. It's not all the time.
Now tell me, I know for a fact that Black businesses have so much stigma. Sometimes it's justified, sometimes it's not. There's just the stereotype when people interact with Black businesses that is like, quality, attitude, this and that, professionalism and all of that. What advice would you give to Black entrepreneurs who are constantly every day fighting against that stereotype?
The most important person for your business is your customer. Number two, your pricing must be correct, because these are the things that I actually struggle. Those were the challenges that I faced. Pricing, if it's not correct, you're gonna face challenges because your business might not be sustainable. Number three, make sure that you are compliant. Compliance for me is the key. And when I say compliance, your HR must run properly. If you don't have money, speak to friends, people that can assist you in writing proper policies and procedures that can run your organization. It's important to have a bookkeeper or an accountant that can be able to assist you in terms of putting all the financial matters in order. For your employees to be happy, you need to be transparent with them and make sure that you pay them well with the level that you are in, And if you don't pay them well, they must know why you're not paying them well. So also have those kind of health checks with your team. And I'm doing that with my team. We're like one small family working together, and when you realize that your employees when you're open to them, you'll realize that they become your family. The most important thing out of this is having a quality product. which the customers will be proud of.
For someone who's starting out and wants to be an entrepreneur and wants to be where you are there some resources that you can recommend, starting point? Maybe they're overwhelmed, they don't know where to start. What would you say?
Yes, I was fortunate enough to have a formal background, formal education. It doesn't have to be university like I went to, it doesn't have to be, it can be anything. It can be, a college, it can be anything. And nowadays we even have, we have data. So our data is giving us opportunity to go through to YouTube, to go through to Google, to go through many other things. And there's where I think I'm not promoting Google, but that's where in Google, there is some trainings that are for free. So people who are still saying, I'm still waiting for money. So you can be able to do such, especially that is in line with your journey. Because if you want to be in business, you need to learn from others. You need to learn from some sources and all that. Like I said, you must know where is the company registered? Why should the company be registered? Just a quick one. If your company is not registered, at the time where there was a pandemic, some people wouldn't have been able to get TERS, which is an assistance from the government. When you start making money, don't be quick to eat it and then start buying things and whatnot. Equip yourself. It's very important to do personal development plan. We call it PDP. So in that PDP, you'll be able to say, this is where I am, this is where I need to be, and this is how I'm going to get there. Because a business to run successfully, it needs a developed person, a person who understands what's going on out there. And also spiritual being is very important in Kita. The reason I'm mentioning this is when you get to a point where nothing makes sense, of which you'll get to it. I get to it most of the time as I grow. There's where customers are not coming, where things are not making sense. You get those rejections from the same companies, big companies who are saying to the media, we assist small businesses. You send them email and you compile the document, they come back and say no rejection. And you're like, but why am I rejected? And they say, no, you are not making a turnover of so and so per year. We're like, because I don't have money, so then what happens? What do you do? Then the only thing is to go back, obviously, to reconnect, to say, oh, I need to calm down. I need to ask God, what is it in for me in this thing? So there's books that I read. Like one of the books that I was reading so much is The Power of Prayer, Purpose and Power of Prayer. And it's also, getting the support from the family. There are people who support you, and there are people who will not support you. So don't expect too much anyway from people.
Why sportswear in particular?
I love beautiful things. I'm an image consultant over and above everything else that I've been doing in my life. So I am a qualified image consultant. So I believe in saving money. So me and him were like at some point we're at the point where we liked, we wanted to have some clothes. And at some point I was selling clothes, but it was formal wear. So when the pandemic struck, then we started exercising with my mom. Because we're locked down in the same house, so it was the time we're going through that pain. We started exercising so much that we're scared of high blood pressure like nobody's business. So as we're exercising, I would like to say it's the Holy Spirit, but in my heart something was like, but why can't you start a sportswear? And because now there's water, and why not sportswear that will be beautiful, that the people can still even wear it, like at home, that they can still wear outside. Because I had a bigger vision to say, no, there's going to be, obviously we will be locked out. So no, when you're locked out, what's going to happen? So the same thing, same attire that you're going to have, you can still use it to go to the office, to go to the mall and out and about and still look beautiful and be the person who likes, styling things and whatnot. Then I said, okay, maybe this sportswear that is clean, elegant, simple, straight to the point. Then I started literally checking what is it how and the one, because it came as an idea first. Then you put it down in the paper. Then as time goes on, then I realized, oh, okay, then I designed few, actually one. Then I ordered, manufacturer did the sampling for me. Then I started showing off and then people liked it. And I was like, okay, maybe this is a business. Then we launched it and taking a risk that every business or entrepreneur do take. Then I took that risk, which I calculated. Then I started.
What are some of the advantages of being an entrepreneur in this day and age?
I think for me, it's an IT space, like a social media space. And it's also, the fact that pandemic is painful as it is, but it has brought us closer, that we want to support each other, want to see each other succeed in life. And we push so much for each other now, because I think out of pity sometimes that there can be something that can come out of that. However, it's not something that we should always run with, but it's one of the things where we are all now scared. We value life more, we value each other more, and everyone who's putting an effort out there to make a difference in people's life kind of like get a support, to say, let's see what is this all about, and what is the story behind this person. So if there is a story, because everything must be driven by a purpose, that's why your why must be bigger than your what. Previously, if you could not afford, to market and to advertise your business, you will just be doomed. You'll have beautiful idea, beautiful quality, beautiful business plan, and etc. But if you cannot distribute it to the market, it will be difficult. So now with the social media, there is a bit of an advantage where you can be able to get ambassadors. So like I say, from your pain, let your purpose prevail. Let your pain push you to your purpose. So don't die in a pain. Don't tell yourself which is the end of the world. Yes, it's okay not to be okay, at that particular time, but don't be stuck into a pain.
Wow.
And so that's all I'm saying. And my last point is that let your why surpass your what. So what it will be the challenges that you go through, it will be the obstacles, it will be disadvantages that we look into, as Black businesses and whatnot, and never ever look yourself as a small business, disadvantage. Now we have opportunities. Let's use what we have. Where we fall short, let's look for help. If we can't find help at that particular time, it does not mean it's not gonna come ever again. Let's keep on pushing. Let's keep on being positive. Use whatever that you have to push to your purpose. I use one of my rooms. I'm having a showroom now, and I'm using me as Flo to be also to wear my clothes, and I still use other people when I can afford. If I can't, I'm a walking billboard,
Yeah.
Look at me, you must see MK, how can you wear it?
I absolutely love it. I always say grief is a companion, and thank you so much for sharing today. And the most important thing that I think I took from you in that segment was, some days or not all days are going to be the same. Some days are different from other days, but what is the why? Why did I go through this, Lord? Show me why. And I always also say that you can deal without dwelling, which also like alludes to your point, staying in your pain and being depressed in your pain will kill you. You can deal while trying to move, never dwell in your pain. And thank you so much, Flo. MK Ozil is a brand that is South African. And again, I love the fact that you are employing people that are unskilled. These businesses and these companies want, 5 years of experience from graduates. They want impossible things. And we're like, well, if you don't give us the chance, who will employ us? Where are we going to get the experience from? So I'm so privileged to speak to a South African brand that is empowering communities, that is empowering individuals. And even you being here on this channel, you've been on bigger platforms, means so much to me. Thank you for coming.
Sure, thank you so much. And you're also inspirational. Hey, as you talk, it sounds like you've been through your own journey as well. So I'm encouraged, and thank you so much for the last words. So clearly, everyone has a story to tell. It's just that, as a person like me, you gave me a platform where I can tell my story, but everyone has a story to tell. So thank you so much. And I appreciate this channel, and I pray that it may succeed and reach all, the platforms and all the people that you are wishing for. Definitely is making a difference in people's lives. So thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Flo. That was Mrs. Florence Ndlovu, who is Chief Executive Officer of MK Ozil Sportwear. You can find her and the brand online and go get their clothes, because I'm going to go order after this. But from me, Nolali and Flo, it's goodbye from now.
Bye.